channel. And I'm Occult Priestess, the hostess with the mostest, OP for short. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves to my very excited audience. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Claire. Hi, everyone. Yes, I am Freeman Fly, hanging out here, having a good time with my good friend, Addy Adds, the Occult Priestess.
Yes.
It's totally amazing. So you guys, we're going to wait for the stream to get populated. We are going to bring up this countdown, and we will see you very shortly. Okay, hello and welcome. So does everybody see themselves? Addy, is there any way you could get a little closer?
Yeah, let me scoot in here a little bit.
So this is the first time I've ever had 3 people in my studio, guys. So it's a little weird, but awesome and lovely. Great presences here today. 2 legends, basically, one in the making and one who is already a cult classic. So I will let them conversate. Go ahead.
Welcome to the show and hello.
Yeah.
Well, I decided I better wear my definitely not in a secret society shirt.
That's awesome. Where did you get that?
Actually, it is an NFT made by the Illuminati.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah, so if you see, it's actually Illuminati.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it literally says Illuminati in the back. That's awesome.
Yeah. I started collecting NFTs. I decided to move into the future, but I'm literally have a major aversion to AI. Have you used any of these AIs at this point?
I have, yeah.
What have you done?
Yeah, I've been testing out the chat GBTs.
Yeah.
It's been
So did you have to give your phone?
No.
I did to chat.
You did?
Probably did.
Oh, wow. I don't think I did. Did you have to? Or?
I've never touched it.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I just was told by weaponized news the other night that you can no longer get chat GPT just for free, that I had gotten in early on, gave it my phone number, but now there's a waiting list for people to use it. But when I go there almost every day now, how do I fix my Sims game? It told me how. So it can just tell you just about anything.
Chat GPT came out and it revolutionized the world, right? That was so coding, obsolete. You're out of a job, guys. Tax lawyers, out of a job. Accountants, out of a job. You know, so many things. Building websites, graphics.
Oh my gosh, the graphics.
Instantly, right? So the day Chat GPT went out, well, 3 days ago, I think it was, maybe 4, GPT-4 came out.
Exactly. I saw that. I tweeted about it, dudes. Look on my timeline.
So now GPT-4 is capable of passing the bar.
Uh-huh.
All right. It's capable of just like, I mean, we're talking days where, okay, so first of all, ChatGPT, when it came out, day 1, outdid Facebook's entire history. Think of that.
What do you mean outdid it?
There were more people hitting ChatGPT. You can never get that one out.
GPT.
Generative.
GPT.
I have to look that up again, what GPT means. But no, seriously, more people went to ChatGPT than Facebook's entire history. As far as I heard the news, like it was just pounded. You know, college students are using it to write their text papers. I have friends who got their children to write and used it for their school project. You know, I let my friends know about it.
Yeah. I wrote a couple papers for kids unethically in school for money in high school, but now it's like you just use this, right?
Exactly.
It's like you don't have to pay anybody.
The ultimate cheat is how you're talking about it. Is like the ultimate cheat.
Well, the best part was a professor was like, okay, if this thing can write the document, can it also grade it? Like, so he got GPT to write a document and then grade its own document. Mm-hmm. And it worked. Mm-hmm. And so then he's like, okay, well, shit, you know, if the kids are cheating, I'll just have it. So it works all around, man.
That's amazing.
But so our lives have been completely altered. No one even knows it yet.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's why I've been covering it so much.
Yeah. It's been really like amazing to experiment with. And I think, you know, to your point, there's stuff that it probably can do that we don't even know that it can do yet.
New discoveries every day.
Okay, so GPT is being used in a numerous, so people are building on it, right? And so then now there's like, build your own website with an image, build your own, you know, there's all these like different
open source
technologies and websites where I have like 20 of them listed where it'll build your website.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We
I've
don't
played
even
a
have to
lot with it.
podcast anymore, right?
No, it
So-
edited my video.
It will edit clips. It'll
edited
shorten.
my video
It'll do
for
all of
me.
that.
Wow.
I'll be showing that in a future show.
It will. Where is it going? Oh, well, we could take 11 labs, which I find interesting for the occult purposes. 11, if you guys don't know, is the most sinister number according to black magicians. That's why Crowley put a K at the end of magic to signify it as black magic, because 11 is the number that they use for dark.
You won't hear that anywhere else, dude. That is Freeman Fly classic.
Yeah, well, that's why the K is there, because the K
Wow.
is the 11th letter in almost every language.
Okay.
So Crowley put K to mark it as black magic, because 11 is the number of black magic. So 11 labs is the voice cloning lab. So that's the voice cloning AI. It's called 11 labs.
Yeah.
So if you take ChatGPT and you get it to,
With deep
put out the
fake.
text, right?
Yeah.
You tell it to tell whatever, mimic you or talk about you or whatever. Then you can throw that into 11 labs and it will clone your voice. And
Wow.
so we're out of a job, right? Like you
Yeah.
can just have
Yeah.
ChatGPT text it into the 11 labs, and the 11 labs will replace, and boom. So everything that I've done, right? So I started in 2004 on Access Television.
Mm.
This was linear editing.
Mm.
Right.
Okay, so I had to write time codes of every second that I had of film. Every second. Okay, so from here to here, we went here. From here to here, we went there. Here I have this corporate logo. Here I have that corporate logo, right? And you had to write out, I have books and books of time code. So this is day one, right? And you go into that machine and you have to type all the time codes into this big machine and stick your tape in. Everybody's like, were you working on VHS? I'm like, yes. There wasn't any of this, right? We didn't have cell phones. We didn't, this was 2004. It's not that long ago, right? But
Pretty
still,
amazing.
so all this non-linear editing. And if you mess up, right, you got to type your numbers in. And if it messes up and doesn't sync up, now remember, there's no transitions either. It's just hard cuts. And if you mess up, you got to start all over. You got to start all over. And this is in real time coding, you know what I mean? You have to sit each frame, everything out. So then next thing I know, non-linear editing's just dumped on me. I just learned linear editing. I just mastered this damn machine, and now it's non-linear editing. Here's your iMac and just drag and drop. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So
Now
all of a
it's-
sudden, you can
mind-blowing.
start
It's
making all
editing
this
our
stuff.
videos.
Yeah.
So the real point is, I'm just waiting. I have learned
Right.
every Adobe product. I mean, I stopped learning conspiracy theory in 2004 and began learning tech, right? All I've done since then is learn Adobe Premiere, Adobe Audition, Adobe, InDesign, everything,
All the
and
website
YouTube and website. Yeah, all of that.
Live streaming,
Everything's been just-
everything. You
yeah.
had your hand in all of it, dude.
Exactly.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So
That's-
now I'm to the point where I'm like, screw it. I'm not doing all that tech. I'm just going to
Yeah.
wait. And tech's
It's
going to
true.
make it so easy. So all of a sudden, here we are today. I don't even have to actually do it.
It's
Yeah.
an
Welcome to
earth-shattering
the future,
breakthrough.
man.
Yeah, and it's like you said. I don't think the majority of people have realized just how big it is yet.
Mhm.
To me, so it's like the more I read about it, the more my mind is like, man, this is nuts. Like the fact that this technology is now at our fingertips.
At our fingertips.
Well, gentlemen, we've had a request in the chat, which is rather odd, from Claire Mathis. Hi, Claire. She said, so I had a dream about Addie the other night.
Oh,
She is always dreaming about new media people. It's really amazing.
I'm
to
always
me.
traveling to people's streams. I hear it all the time.
yeah,
I must be busy at night.
yeah.
But go on.
She says, I was hanging out with Addie and his friends or acquaintances. We found out his acquaintances were working for the cartel. Ooh, I know what you're talking about, Claire. Then we were all on the run. Be careful out there, Addie. Look out for those Agent Smiths.
Yeah.
And do you
Agent
remember
Smith.
when you were in the bar and there was those honeypot ladies?
Oh yes, in Brazil. I alluded to
Tell
that.
us about that
Earlier when I was talking.
Claire, this reminds me of your dream. What happened to him? Which you've probably heard, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I know when Freeman and I were chatting before the show, I alluded to it, but I wanted to save it for the show. So, what Corinna's referring to was something that happened when I went to Brazil last year. It was right before Thanksgiving. And it was right after their election, so they had these protests or demonstrations.
Huge, like the largest in the world ever.
Very,
and
very
your
big.
butt was there.
Yes, I was there for
Amazing.
5 days. I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks, but what happened was I had these interviews actually with the local a campaign manager and then a lawyer. And I actually still haven't published those, but I'm going to, which were smooth. I don't think they were in on it. They were like younger. I think they're older than me, I think, but yeah, they're younger guys. Yeah, it was really intense. It was at the headquarters for the military, which is in the capital there in Brasilia. But what
happened in the nightclub?
Yeah, we walked into this bar, and did the interview. It went well, but as soon as I got there, I guess my radar like turned on right away, because there was an FBI agent at the table and a State Department employee. And they gave us their contact information to verify that they were, government employees and so on. And the bar owner facilitated basically the whole situation. And that's who owned the second bar as well, which we went to later in the evening. And the young ladies, though, they came over to try to get my security guy away from, to split us up, basically.
Exactly.
Divide and conquer, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after like half an hour of persuasion from multiple people. The State Department employee, his name is Miguel Contreras. I'll just say their names. FBI agent was Kristen Parkhouse.
They're
FBI.
Weird names. Parkhouse.
Yeah, Parkhouse.
There's always weird names.
And yeah, he had a girlfriend at the time, and so finally they convinced him to go over and just at least have a conversation with this person, right? Because she wrote on a napkin, "I think you're cute," or and then phone number. And then 2 ladies immediately when that happens come over and sit by me. And then I got up to use the restroom after a bit because I didn't realize it at the time, but the bar owner was dating one of these young ladies. They were together, even though when they came over, they pretended not to know each other. So that was weird because it seemed like he was getting jealous or something. And I was like, I don't even want to do this. So I just left and I came back. And then she left. And then this man came over, like a taller guy with a beard. And one of those, I think it's like a bowler cap, like the golf cap. And he asked, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm doing journalism or whatever. And he's like, but what are you doing here?
Was he a Mason in that hat?
Who knows what is official?
They're definitely not men without hats.
Yeah. Well, he admitted he was working, and he also told me he had later on in the conversation that he had experience in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I'm guessing he was probably like near retirement. But yeah, he's like, what, are you taking a video of me while I'm working? But backing up, I was like, when he repeated the question, I was like, oh, I think I know what's going on here, and I like leaned into it because I think one thing that I would have been a tendency, based on my own experience, is like to pretend like it's not happening out of fear, or like try to like guide the situation. But I just like leaned into it, and I was like, oh, okay. And he asked me to go on a walk several times. He's like, let's go on a walk. But explicitly right away, he said, we're reading every text, every cell phone ping we have, and all your articles we're reading. And then he said, the election's been decided. The outcome's not going to change. And that I should leave. And I got this on video, actually. He said, that I would end up in a black site in the middle of the ocean. I'm in the middle of the effing ocean. So
that's scary, dude.
Yeah, and we later got into like a physical altercation with not even him, with the State Department employee away the car. So he handed me a bin bag, and then he said, if I ever see you again, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to have to kill you. That's what he said to me.
Okay, cool.
State Department employee. Yeah, it's nuts. So
why do you think they were after you, Addie? Also, fix your wing. You have a wing.
oh yeah.
But why were they after you? Why you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know for sure.
Oh, it's worse.
Yeah, it's gonna do its thing. But
Just deal with it, kids.
yeah.
We tried.
Well, I think they wanted a very specific narrative coming out about Brazil.
Oh, they were trying to control the narrative, control the press, obviously.
Yeah.
But isn't that a little tiny bit flattering?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it means
That's
you're
crazy.
you're punching above your weight. That's what somebody said to me. They're like, it was actually
Right.
I was gonna say we called for advice from people, from my mentor, and then this other guy I know he's also like a mentor to me and had experience as a whistleblower in intelligence. And they both said like you should leave as soon as you can. And they both said like one of them said actually to tape my passport to my body, and the other one said like don't lose your passport. But they both made that like keep your passport on you, you know.
Do you want to plug George Webb?
Yeah, that was my mentor. We don't work directly together every day anymore, but yeah, George is.
You're always sharing shows and.
Yeah, we still work pretty
Yeah, it's
consistently.
really cool.
But yeah, we.
So George, is he on Rockfin?
Is he on Rockfin? I don't think so.
I'm subscribed to him on YouTube, guys.
Yeah.
So.
And I think he just got kicked off again. I don't know. I just got kicked off again too. So I think he goes on. He goes on Peter Duke's show.
Yeah,
on
Peter
the Duke
Duke
Report.
The
yeah.
Duke Report.
So
Exactly.
that's where he can be found primarily. But yeah, we should maybe get him on Rockfin.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, get that $100 Rockfin money for signing somebody up.
Oh, the referral. Yeah, I don't think I've gotten any.
I got my Ray.
I've never gotten any money for a referral.
Yeah.
And I've referred
I got my
several.
Ray today then.
Yo, did we get Ray today?
Yeah.
I didn't look.
Yeah.
Cool.
Even though ETH is up like $500.
This is a reminder to the audience. Please tip your content creators, especially your cult classics and your brave heroes of Greek myth. Okay? Thank you so much. Really, dude. It's heroic.
Yeah, but thank you. I'm not but thank you. I just sorry.
Well,
I get bashful a little bit.
But who does that?
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah.
How many people do I know that do that? One. You.
Oh.
That's it.
It gets very real very quick. And I think that's what Donald Trump learned. I think that's what Tucker Carlson's learning.
I don't know about
I think
that. What's going on with the old Tuck?
Well, hold on. And it's what Alex Jones has known, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it does become very real, very quick, and you're not expecting this. You go. So, if I travel back in time to 1999, so go back to 1999 when the Battle of Seattle happened, and there was the massive protests in Seattle against the WTO and the IMF, right? And Antifa was there. And what had occurred was, for the first time, we had the World Wide Web and we had citizen journalists. Mm-hmm. And it was called indie media. Mm-hmm. And indie media was the first broadcast independent civilian journalists. And so I was watching what was going on in Seattle the entire time. I knew more of what happened to the people in Seattle than the people that were in Seattle at the time, right? Because of the World Wide Web. To me, this was like a big moment in the world, right? Like we're talking about ChatGPT. This was like, oh my God, citizen journalists can just broadcast. We can. My very first interview was on Indie Media back in '99. But so I literally witnessed as they replaced the police officers in Seattle with these big, massive dudes. Mm-hmm. It was fat, dumpy dudes for the first 2 days. And then all of a sudden they replaced this. Then we had citizen journalists following these guys who were the agent provocateurs going around kicking in the windows. And the ladies following them with a camera going, well, why aren't the police stopping this? She turns around. The police had opened fire on the citizens, on the public. They were getting hit with rubber bullets and CS gas and tear gas and all of that. And it was a big deal, right? It was like, the Battle of Seattle. And they chased them into Capitol Hill. You could literally watch all this happen because of the citizen journalists that were following everything. They were shooting concussion grenades at people that were coming out of their houses to see what the hell was going on. The
Mm.
cops were shooting these good, and they chased the Antifa away from the situation, and all the film footage was of these people, and of course it all looked like violence, right? So then the protest moved to Washington, D.C., and I decided, all right, I'm going to go face this thing. And I drive my van up to D.C. I should have brought these pictures, because I have pictures of Antifa from '99. They're all in their masks, and they're all with their black and red. And, this is
Another day,
1999.
another show.
And I have photography. I mean, I had to go get these pictures pressed.
At the drugstore.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Right. I was filling my camera with double A's, like shoving them in there like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
I had to carry this. I had a candy
We're a
cane
bit
full
older
of-
than Addy, let's
Right.
say. There's a little generation gap.
Digital cameras were brand new. So here I am in the midst of this. I got there early. I met all the people that were setting up the protests, the ones that had signed the permits. Well, day one, the cops came and arrested them. And then on the Friday before the protest, now this is against the International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization.
IMF, man.
Yeah, 1999, just like 20 years ago. 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Quarter of a century
That's how old my
ago.
kid
Oh God.
is, exactly. 1999.
I'm sitting there, and I had pictures of all this, and somehow all my pictures disappeared. Another weird thing was I had a constant helicopter. Now, I was no one at this point, right? I didn't have a TV show. The internet didn't exist. You know what I mean?
Physically, you were nobody, but spiritually, you've always been famous.
And I mean, I literally had a helicopter. I would make jokes about it.
But
Like, where's
we
my
know
copter?
who
And
your
suddenly
well,
it would
he
show up.
doesn't, but we know who your dad is.
Right. I end up having all these connections. But so I'm sitting there. We're on a Friday before the official protest. We're doing like a practice run from the Capitol to the monument and back, and nobody's actually protesting. We're just walking around getting to know one another. And all of a sudden, 2 lines of riot squads come in and they block everybody in a block. But there's
Okay.
thousands of us on this side and thousands of us on that side. But these 600 that got trapped between this riot squads just are trapped, right? And there are Japanese tourists, there's little kids, there's old people, whatever, right? Just anyone that was in between those 2 streets at that very moment. I happened to be 5 minutes ahead, thank God. I turn around and I see this happen. Now they're bringing in school buses and they start zip tying these children and little old ladies and Japanese tourists, and they zip tie them all and they shove them all in school buses. And when they ran out of school buses, they brought city buses, and they took all of these people away and put them down in this underground parking shelter, charged them with parading without a permit. Yes, that's what they were charged. And it was $50. And if you didn't have your $50, you had to go and wait for somebody to show up with $50. So they made a quick 30 grand off these 600 people.
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But these people were held in this underground base where Dr. Jill kept her guards when they put all the fences around the White House.
Dr. Jill Biden.
After the coup, yeah.
Oh.
So you remember they put all the military
Yeah.
and made them all sleep in
Yep.
this dank ass thing, and then she brought them cookies in the morning, all dressed up in her little Mary
Yeah.
Poppins outfit. Yeah. And they all turned their back on her. Dr. Jill.
Remember that?
Do you know
I
how
remember
Dr.
the
Jill
photo.
became Dr. Jill?
Oh, but tell us.
Was it at The View? Or no, what was it?
No, Dr. Jill Biden.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Biden's
Joe
wife.
Biden's wife. She got tired of seeing Senator Joe Biden on the mail and Mrs. Jill Biden. So she went out and got a doctorate in education.
A vanity doctor.
A vanity
apparently.
doctorate. Oh God, you should read her. Oh my God, it's so bad. It is so bad.
New Agers do the same thing.
Oh my God, go read her her dissertation. Oh my God, it's so bad.
Maybe she wrote it with ChatGPT.
But she wishes.
She wishes, right?
But the only reason that she became a doctor was so that her mail read Dr. Jill Biden.
Right.
That's why she's
Yeah.
Dr. Jill. So anyway, these people were all held there without bathrooms, without food and water for an entire day.
On the damn buses.
On these buses, in this thing, pregnant women on their menstrual cycles, and no bathrooms, no nothing. They were processed one at a time. It took like 8 hours for these people to get out. And then they were just there again for the protest. Then the day of the protest, it happens. I have all these pictures. The people of DC were like literally, I mean, 50 blocks of the city were closed, right? And the people that lived there couldn't go to work, whatever. And so they were just putting their speakers out in the streets, and it was this massive street party in DC. But then I left, and I saw just one picture on every newspaper from all the way up the entire coast was a picture of violence. And I was like, where did this happen? As a matter of fact, while we were in lunch during the protest, having a grand old time with everybody, we're watching the TV and they're showing this violence. And we're like, where is this happening? You know, like this
in
was
PSYOP land.
Yeah. It was so bizarre. So that set the stage for me to know exactly what to look for on January 6th. And so then I told everybody this story the week before and was like, you know, this is what's going to happen on January 6th. And, you know, don't do it. Right?
Right.
Don't be stupid. You know, it doesn't help. It doesn't do anything. This is all a setup. You guys are being set up.
Yes.
And yeah. And so now everybody that's coming out with the data and the knowledge and the footage, like Tucker and Alex. And,
Is that what happened to Tucker?
yeah, he released the footage of Ray Epps. He released the footage of Q Shaman being led around, you know, and it was the same.
By the escort, being escorted.
Yeah, he was helping the police.
I saw a meme that said types of escorts. One of them was a hooker, and the other one was Q Shaman being led in.
Now, here's the thing, all right? So Q Shaman was scared when they captured him, and this is what happens, right? So you're in this situation, and you've got somebody like telling you, I'm going to fucking kill you, right? Like, you keep this up, you are out of your depth, right? Well, Q Shaman was told the same damn thing. And he's like, you know, if you take this to court, you're going to spend 20 years in prison. So he took the plea. He took the plea for the 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, now all the evidence is coming out. Now all this footage is showing he's completely exonerated. He was actually working for the police.
I saw that on the day and
them,
after.
Helping them.
Where was this footage?
We all
was
saw
all
that.
there.
We all saw that. We saw Eugene, the cop who had everything set up. Yeah, we watched the agent provocateurs open the
That's
doors
what I
and
don't
open the
get.
windows.
Ashley Babbitt, say her
Well,
name.
people still believe that 5 officers died that day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the government is still coming on the news and saying
How
that
come we
5
know
officers
this?
died.
We all watched the same damn thing.
And I want to make it clear that I did not get my opinion from Tucker Carlson. I did not get my opinion from Alex Jones or InfoWars. I watched 5 live streams.
Yeah, me
because
too.
We live in a world where we can do this, and people are out there doing it like you.
Oh,
So
it's because we know about the live stream.
dude, I had the news going. I had this news going. I had InfoWars going. I had RSBN going. I had every live feed I could find, just like 99 when I was watching the Battle of Seattle. I wanted to see every aspect, and I saw every aspect.
It's how we watch it.
Yes. And we knew what we were looking for. I mean, I've been through this, so I knew. And yes, so that's why what you do is so important and ballsy, and everybody's starting to learn right now. Like, holy shit, this is real. Like, we're really up against something here. You know, it's not fun. You know, it's not fun and games anymore, right?
No, it's
the conspiracy is over. It is time for the war.
Yeah, it's not a grift at that point. Right?
It's like the movie Conspiracy Theory, right? With
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen that one.
Oh, dude, Lord. We got to do a watch
God,
along.
Yeah. Because I'm back there. I was Mel Gibson in that, thing in that movie, basically. So but of course, they made him look insane, which he was.
The conspiracy theorist.
Sure.
But I was I'm in there in the theater bitching, going, no, it's HARP. It's not space based. This is ground based. They keep saying it's in space. It's not. It's HARP. It's on the ground.
That was the weather modification in the movie.
They had a.
Because he didn't know which conspiracy he had gotten right, because they were after him, just like you.
Sure.
Right. It could happen to you any day.
Right.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you got to watch that.
Yeah, I like Mel Gibson. He just saw my Twitter the other day. He was hanging out. Oh, he was hanging out with Carrie Lake, actually. Yeah, a few days ago.
So today on Badass Uncle Sam, It's one of my favorite to watch on Sundays.
Okay.
He's this old man that talks to people in the street in New
Nice.
Orleans, and he dresses up in his badass Uncle Sam outfit, and he's on Band.video.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So he had a person show up today that was talking about this massive deep underground base that the celebrities have in Maine, that they had hollowed out an island out there in Maine, and this guy was hired to come in and set up like a lot of the satellite grids and things, and that they had some sort of system set up so that it cloaked the inside of the island if any planes are flying over or anything. But he said they have this massive complex.
Sounds like an
inside
evil
of the island.
lair.
Yeah. And that the celebrities were all allowed, like the normal people weren't allowed, where the celebrities were not.
Well,
It was
who
that
wore
normal,
masks
but-
and who didn't wear masks?
Yeah.
We've seen that bifurcation in our society.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Thank you again for the comment, by the way. I didn't. Thank you for that, but I appreciate it, man. Yeah, and I love talking to people like you guys, because you guys have so much knowledge and firsthand experience, and with the people too, like in the industry, and it's just it's really fun, and I'm really trying to enjoy the process.
It's the only way.
Yeah, because I do
we're
get
learning every
Now,
day.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
What synchronicities befell you as you were doing this? Like, did you get guided at certain times to go somewhere, or just happen to be at the right place at the right time? Like
With regards to Brazil,
Yeah.
or in general,
Or in general.
with this mission that you
Oh,
call
yeah.
what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, that's an interesting. Oh, here's one. One of my, I won't name her to embarrass her, but one of my sources and patrons from a couple years ago, and it was actually leading up to the 2020 election. I covered like Harrison Deal death story and some ballot stuff and stuff like that. But and she was the director for the bus tour that I ended up working on for this this other outlet. So, and that was that like 2 years later, basically. So that was really cool. To reconnect with somebody who is so supportive of me, way before like anybody really knew who I was. But having George kind of knight me, so to speak, was huge, because you almost get like it's like a de facto credibility from something like that, or like someone like if you have a protege, or it like rubs
He's
off
my
on
mentor.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
There you go. So it kind of, there's like a symbiotic relationship there. But that was big too, because then he introduced me to a lot of people like Dan Hopsiker. I met Dan Hopsiker, for example, because of that. So really George's influence has been really big on me for.
Always say his last name.
Yeah, George Webb. Sorry.
Also, while I have you here,
Yeah.
you guys will remember a couple of weeks ago, I showed a clip of Addy Adds on the ground with the mask on in Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm
You're
from
crazy.
Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I really wanted to get your take on what you learned, because I watched your interviews. He's got interviews with the locals.
Mm.
So watch those. So please tell me, what did you learn while you were in Ohio?
Yeah, and they actually hit me up last week. A couple of those guys did. They wanted to talk again, so I'm
We'd love to hear from them.
slowly making my way back that way. It's going to be a story, honestly, probably for years to come. And at the same time, what I learned to answer your question.
Yes.
I learned that some people didn't want to talk to me. Some people couldn't. For example, the guy who owns Leaks Oil Shop, which is the business basically right next to where this happened, this train derailment and chemical spill, is in a lawsuit against Norfolk Southern. So we tried talking to him. He said, I can't
Gag
say
order.
anything.
The lady at the school was
Yeah.
very informed.
There was two ladies. I think they were mom and a daughter, or mom and a stepdaughter. And they really knew what was going on. Like, they knew about the bogus contracts that were being handed
Trying to
out.
be paid off by
Basically.
the Which company?
It
The
was
gas company?
CTEH, I think, the Center for Toxicology and Environmental Health. But it was basically a proxy for the railroad, for Norfolk Southern.
So Norfolk Southern, their main investors are BlackRock and Vanguard.
Yeah, you're correct. Yep. Yeah.
So
Hi, Tom Cooper. I saw you in the chat. I just interrupting. Hello, Tom Cooper. Okay.
So we're looking at like a land grab, an EPA type of land grab. Where
This guy's the best.
Isn't he though? He knows because he's been through it.
That's what I was that's what I was led to. My conclusion was like, it seems like an eminent domain thing maybe is going to happen down the road. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Put in data, conspiracy comes out.
Yeah, but yeah, because of all the climate warfare agenda, they now have the power to just come and take those properties. So rainbow gatherings, I've been doing those since 91 or something like that. And they were initially set up in 74. A bunch of hippies got together and said the Bureau of Land Management cannot take our national lands. So we're going to gather in them every year. And so every year, 30,000 hippies gather in the national forest saying, these are our lands. Been battling BLM since 74, but it's Bureau of Land Management, right?
Right, different BLM. Yeah.
But so that was the whole thing. So there's been this constant contagion of feds taking over everything that we own and everything that was given and granted to the people.
Unfortunately, I had the same conclusion. Was like, it seems like the feds are using this to, whether it was real or not, I still don't know again who. So like, for example, who's the guy that if it was sabotage, who did that? You know, was it the train conductor, or was it the engineer, or was it Antifa, as somebody asserted? But, you know, it's been nuts, the people who like have asserted things, and I'm just like,
right, because there's curiosities like the brakes went off like 20 miles back, but the guy just kept going. And then we kind of get into Amish land, into good fertile land. And then they dump all of this. And if they had not burned the chloral or the
vinyl chloride
with the PCR or in the PVC and the vegetables, then it wouldn't have turned into dioxins.
It had to be a perfect
Agent
storm.
Orange. And so it was like, and have you seen White Noise?
I haven't. I probably should before I return.
Another watch
Did you check it out, or?
I did.
Yeah. What did you think?
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. You think it's a film about a train crash, right? Now, the bizarre part, if you guys don't know, White Noise was filmed in what was the town of Ohio?
I think
Palestine.
Palestine. Yeah, East Palestine. Yep.
Yeah. So,
and they used extras that were locals.
It's the ultimate. It's the ultimate in gaslighting, guys. They gaslit a whole town, made a film, and then made it happen.
Yeah, I mean Sandy Hook was on Bane's terrorist list in the Batman movie,
dude.
So
I know Sandy Hook was a slap. I don't care.
But
that was in The Dark Knight, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that guy mysteriously died in a car accident, so we'll never know why he put Sandy Hook on the Bane map in Batman.
The writer did?
No, the prop director.
Oh,
so
okay.
I mean, if we're gonna get into it, Newtown, right? Newtown is the only Newtown, Connecticut, where Sandy Hook is.
By the government.
Well, it's the only other place in the United States or the world where the Church of Satan has an address. So
I
there's
knew
San
it was
Francisco and there's Newtown, Connecticut. These are the only two addresses for the Church of Satan, right?
They always do it in large groups. Luciferians don't act in little tiny groups. They act in very large gang stalking groups. I'm telling you. Go ahead.
But so, yeah, the guy who did the props for Batman came from Newtown. And, you know, that's why they're saying that Sandy Hook was on the map for Bane. It was the first terrorist attack on Bane's map, if you watch the movie. And
that's so bizarre.
Yeah. And then he dies mysteriously in a car accident. And,
well, isn't also
never get the answer,
right? And September 11th, isn't that in the Matrix? Isn't that on like Neo's driver's license?
Well, I mean, let's get a little Freeman on that.
Okay.
Personally, 9/11 to me is a symbol of Luciferianism, and so the 9/11 in the Matrix, in my opinion, was not a reference to the Twin Towers coming. Even though I think it was even 2001 that his passport was 9/11/2001. I don't remember. But anyway, 9/11 has been a symbol of theirs forever. So when George H.W. So go back to Herbert Walker's presidency, 1990.
Yeah.
On 9/11, that's when he said the New World Order for the first time publicly.
Remember that, guys?
So 9/11 has always been a symbol of theirs. So that's how I predicted 9/11.
Exactly.
Because I was already looking at that as the symbol of Luciferianism, which takes a little bit of description to show why that is. But
he has his lectures here on Rockfin.
All my lectures are on Rockfin, right?
Okay, awesome.
But to make it short, there's 10 spots on a tree of life. And then another tree of life starts. So that's 11. All right. So you got 10 in the first tree, 10 in the second. But number one of 10, the second is now 11, right? So you got 10, 11. If you skip from 9 to 11, 10 is God.
Yeah,
the unifying factor. And so if you go from 9 to 11, then you're skipping God on your path to the magician. So you're a sorcerer. So it's black magic. And again, we're back to Crowley's 11 and the K and all of that. So that's why 9/11. So when W got forced into office, W is the occult symbol of the fallen angels. 6 and 6. That's why Hitler had the B and the D. Yeah.
Hello, Liz. Hi, Tom. Saying hello, guys. Oh my goodness, we've got tips. Go ahead, Freeman.
Well, basically, that's how you end up at how I predicted 9/11 was knowing that 9/11 was a symbol. And so I used that instead of politics.
Right.
I mean, I combined it with the politics. Yeah. I knew that they needed a major terrorist attack to happen in the middle of September. And I used the symbol of 9/11 because I knew of it since the 90s and said, it'll happen on this date. And then I freaked a bunch of people out.
And he's still freaking people out to this day.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the people that were there, I don't know how to find on the World Wide Web because this was, 2001. And I was at a party and I told this party, like the band was playing, the band took a break. I picked up the band's mic and I said, hey, everyone, there's going to be a major terrorist attack on 9/11. Don't freak out. This is all for your reaction. And I dropped the mic.
Boom. Freeman out.
So 9/11 comes and I'm at this hippie house, right? I don't live anywhere. I live at I'm staying at this hippie house. And everybody knows where the hippie house is in Lawrence, Kansas. And somehow everybody knew that I was at the hippie house. So on 9/11, I'm woken up. I'm laying in a puddle of animals. I got cats and dogs between my legs. I got a cockatiel that's clearing my eyelashes. I don't think the iguana was warming on me that day.
You talked about the cockatiel.
Oh, God, that cockatiel would knock it off my head. I don't know if I am made light or whatever, but that cockatiel was on my head at all times. At all times.
Because you're crackers.
Nothing I could do. There's 7 people in the house, but it was on my head.
Yeah.
Nothing I could do. I would walk around and forget that it was on me, like I'd go outside and do stuff.
Oh
man, I still have that thing.
That's awesome.
I derailed you. You're in the house. It's the morning of.
Yeah, so that's how I woke up on 9/11 to people pounding on my door. And so I wake up and I go out there. I don't know it's 9/11. I don't have a television or a calendar or a clock. I'm just like, So anyway, they're all yelling at me. There's this whole group of people like, how did you know? How did you know? And I'm like, no, what? I had no idea. It took me a week or two.
They're ready to lynch.
Till I finally saw the Twin Towers. Like I didn't have a television. I didn't have any way to witness what everybody was talking about. So I never even saw the event until, a week or so later.
Yeah.
But what was really weird, and the part that I barely believed myself, is that there were 2 people in that group that already had their 20s folded as the Twin Towers.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, that's on 9/11. That's on the day of.
On the day.
And now I'm a conspiracy theorist. I say that's impossible.
But
you don't just accidentally fold your bill into it,
No.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen it. Everybody has.
Well, I have.
1996, they changed all the bills, right? 1996, they swapped the art, and everybody was like, "What the hell are they doing?" Well, they swapped the art, so it became the 2 towers burning.
I'm shouting
Mm.
out to Dave and Laura.
Yeah.
I've seen you in a lot of chats. Thank you for
And then on
coming to
this
our
side,
chat today.
You've got the Pentagon burning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you guys haven't seen this, I was actually the first person to put this on television. You can clearly see the Twin Towers get struck on the 20 when it's folded that way.
Kablam.
And then on the back, you've got the Pentagon getting struck on that side, right? If you can kind of
Oh,
get
sure. I've
down
seen
inside
that one
of that.
before.
All right, and if you take from the 5 to the 100, you get the entire scenario.
Oh my God.
Now, the dollar didn't change. They never changed the dollar because the dollar is their main pantacle. It has all their magical sigils on it. So they can't change the dollar. So in 96, they didn't change the dollar. They changed everything else. So then you take the 5, which became monopoly money.
Right. That's
All
what I
right.
call
So
it.
20s are blue. The 5s are orange. If you go check your monopoly money, it's the same colors. There's a psychological effect to this. They wanted you to think of this as play money now. And so they psychologically changed it to the colors of monopoly money so that you would start to think less and less of this. So its magical powers were diminished so that you would turn to the card and then the chip. Right? But that all happened in 96. 96 was a huge year for conspiracy and for the takeover of all of this.
It really was.
How often it goes back to that.
Okay, gentlemen. Well, we have gone over the time that you have allotted for us
That
today.
was too fast.
Yeah, you got to do it again soon.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down. I love it. So, hey to Dave and Laura, and please shout out Elizabeth Radican for our tip today.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. We appreciate you. And if anybody else would like to give us a little bit of love, show us love in the chat room.
It really does matter. Okay,
Yeah.
let me throw this out there as the elder in this situation, right? Because I started this back with Access Television. There was no YouTube or Google. Google was just coming out. I actually had one of the very first Google television shows, and I didn't even know it. My roommate was secretly putting this stuff on the internet. I had no idea that
That's how cool you are.
I became a global phenomenon, and then found out
Behind
about
his
it.
own back.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And so then I got on YouTube, but here was the thing. I saw this World Wide Web and like citizen journalists, like us being able to get this information out and people going out and being ballsy like you. And I respect and love that. That's what the World Wide Web was created for, right? For us to come out and say, no, here's reality. Well, on the same level, crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, I was like, oh my God, we just cut out the middleman. You know, we don't need them anymore. They've given us PayPal. We can take direct deposits into it, you know. And
shout out to PayPal at Occult Priestess.
yes, yes. So
yeah, actually, we all have PayPals.
yes, we do.
Linked below.
Yeah, you will find my donate page on freemantv.com if you want to throw anything in there. Or
It's
if you
right below
subscribe.
this video. Just click it, you guys. You can go to Addy too.
Yep, my buy me a coffee. Yep.
And your
Yes.
Substack and everything.
But here was what was important is people weren't seeing that we were in the quantum age of minimum input, maximum output. So there's a guy that put his phone up put his Venmo number up at a football game and accidentally made $1 million. He said, I need a beer, and put his Venmo number on, and it got on camera, and he accidentally made $1 million.
That's amazing.
Right? So that's what we should have been doing all along. All right. So people, so many times I was on the air. I had 6,000 people listening live, right? And I'm like, okay, guys, just send in $1. If 10% of you sent $1, just 10% of my audience, and that's just the live listening audience, not the 30,000 that were listening afterwards. If 10% of you sent me $1, I would be fine. I could stay in my house, right? Well, people kept saying, well, you know, it seems stupid to send $1. It just seems stupid, you know. And so I would make $7, right? And I'm like, guys, I cannot stay on the air with $7. You know, just send $1. Well, it seems like too little. I'm like, we're in the age of minimum input, maximum output. If all of you sent $1, I'd be rich, you know. But if 10% of you sent me $1, I could live and I could do all of this. Well, they didn't. They never did. And I ended up homeless 4 times doing this, right? Because we didn't have, and I finally had to build a members section and you know, make content unavailable, exclusive, so that then people were willing to pay for it. But if everyone had just given $1, well, I'd be a rich man right now, that's for sure. And it wouldn't have hurt anyone. And we need to realize our potentials that are coming now with like these, you know, with the AI and everything else. Well, we really missed the boat on crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, and keeping things going, because a lot of people think $1 just is stupid, but it's not. So let's do that. You know, like if everybody listening sent $1, you know, it's nothing to you, but it will bank up to, you know, hundreds for Corinne. And so we got to keep that in mind.
No, that's a really good point. And it's something that, I mean, it's really timely because it's something I've been dealing with too. You know, been doing this completely independently. Like,
don't make us rely on Google. You know, like, good God. I mean, Google paid me out and then said, oh, hell, we're counseling you.
I've been shadow banned, I think, for 15 years, you guys, for real.
But yeah, so that's it.
Thank you, Freeman. I appreciate that.
No, thank you.
And thank you.
For let's talk some more. This is really fun.
Addy Adds. So Addy and Freeman are going to do some shows too. I love this. My Aquarius self loves.
Yeah, you're going to be out from the free zone very soon, I hope.
Hell yeah. I know I'm around for a few days, so let's get some stuff done.
That's exciting. Okay, well, we're going to hang out more because I love hanging out with the cool kids. So I thank you so much for joining us today there in the Rockfin chat, and I hope you heard your name said. We are very thankful for you being here. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Claire, thank you so much for your very generous $20 tip. Claire Mathis, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Claire.
She's
Mathis.
my favorite. Shh, don't tell anybody. Okay. Hey, John Coyne too. The IRS, what was that guy's house the next day? So he's talking about the news. The IRS, what was at that guy's house the next day is what that says. So I'm just reading it out so everybody feels included. So we're good. You guys.
Great show.
All right.
Well, let's see if Putin, Trump, and everybody gets arrested next week. What a time.
Addy, where do we find you?
Yes. Links are below, hopefully, as Corinne said, but twitter.com/1AddyAdds.
That's ONE.
Yeah, one spelled out. And then my Buy Me a Coffee is just Addy Adds, ADDYADDS.
Freeman Fly?
FreemanTV.com, or on any podcast player out there except YouTube, where I'm scrubbed. Not just banned, but scrubbed. I mean,
go to YouTube, search for Freeman TV. Good luck.
And not even just that, just me in general. They scrub me all, you know, not just my channel, but I'm removed from YouTube entirely.
He never existed.
I never existed. I've been depersoned.
According to YouTube.
FreemanTV.com is where you go. And of course, I'm on every podcast player out there, Spotify, iTunes, all of that stuff. And if you want to kick in or come over to the Rockfin channel as well, I'm creatively investing that cryptocurrency into a conspiracy metaverse.
Ooh.
So if you're into that sort of thing, that's what I'm using my Ray for at this time, is to sponsor my metaverse, because I think we need a place in there as well. We can't just let Zuck take that whole spot. So I bought my own metaverse.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Conspiracy geeks to the rescue in the metaverse.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, we're at the heart of this. All right. So freemantv.com. Simple.
Exciting. Thanks. I'm Occult Priestess from occultpriestess.com, wishing you a beautiful and happy Sunday at 3:16 p.m. on 3/19/2023. Goodbye, everyone.